Prabhuji mentioned, we are also reading from the excerpts of this from Harinam Chintamani and Nam Bhajan by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur is actually the biological father of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and grand spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's Bhakti Vinod Thakur's spiritual master is Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and also he is the father of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. From the book Harinam Chintamani, we are also referring as worshipping the demigods as independent of Krishna is the offense. So it's the same thing. So without further ado, we're going to focus on Padma Puran. Let's offer our obeisances. Gyana Timirandasya Gyanan Janashalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasme Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Soing Rupakadamahyam Dadati Swantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapadakamam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vitam Shab हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय सकलपतरुश्च कृपा सिंधु वैवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नीलाचल निवास नित्य परमात्मने बलवते सुभद्राभ्यां Jagannathaiti Namo. So thank you so much. Welcome to this wonderful topic. We are going to discuss the 10 offenses, out of which today we are focusing on the second offense, which is a very important topic to ponder and also a very controversial topic. So it has to be taken in the right context. So that's the reason why we'll go into some of the siddhantas, some of the principles, and based on that, we as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are not going to defame any demigod, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahma, Vishnu. Our Acharyas have told us not to, we have no right to defame anybody. So that's our prerequisite. But with that, we have to understand some of the guiding principles. And these principles are very, very important to position the Supreme Personality Godhead, Purna Purushottam Krishna. So Vyasadeva wrote 18 Puranas. After 17 Puranas, he was very dissatisfied. He was not very happy. Narad Muni came, and finally, as after the discussion, Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavad Puran, which is nothing but Srimad Bhagavatam. And in there, he has glorified Lord Krishna like anything. So it is often characterized that why ISKCON is so much fond of Srimad Bhagavatam, spreading of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is Shiva Purana, there is Vishnu Purana, there are 17 other Puranas. And in Shiva Purana also, there are references to Lord Shiva as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this topic is a very, very important topic. And in one of the such Puranas, one of the 17 Puranas, Padma Purana, in Brahma Khanda, Vyasadeva is saying, one who considers the name, qualities, and other attributes of Shiva as independent, bhinnam of the name, qualities, and other attributes of Bhagavan Vishnu, displeases the name. So let's try to understand this. So Lord Shiva is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As you have known, you have the Purna Purushottam Krishna, then Karnodakshaya Vishnu, Garvadakshaya Vishnu, from the Garvadakshaya Vishnu, from the navel, Brahmaji appears, and from Brahmaji's, from the midpoint of his head, the fire comes out and Rudra emanates, and we have to understand that he is none other than Lord Shiva. So thinking that Lord Shiva's name, pastimes are different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu in this case, as I mentioned, that it is Purna Purushottam Krishna, Karnadakshaya Vishnu, Garvadakshaya Vishnu, Brahmaji from the navel of the petal flower, Brahmaji, and from Brahmaji. So it clearly defines who comes from what. But that doesn't mean that one is less or more, but we just have to understand in a contextual sense as about this. And then in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also mentions, Yeapi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhaya anvirita teapi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So we'll basically focus on these two words from this verse in 9.23 in Bhagavad Gita. Devata bhakta. Devata means demigod worship. And the demigod worship, Lord Krishna has mentioned, is abidhi purvakam. Abidhi means which is not followed with vidhi. So it's abidhi. Abidhi means it's not done the right way. Vidhi means done the right way. Going on the right side of the road in US is the right way. Going on the left side of the road in India is the right way. And if you do this the other way, you call for tickets. So abidhi purvakam, devata bhakta. That means when people worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with faith, actually worship only me indirectly, as I mentioned about the Purna Purushottam Krishna, Karnadakshaya Vishnu, Garvadakshaya Vishnu, and Kirodakshaya Vishnu, who is part and parcel in our heart as jivas. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita 9.23 that Devata Bhakta are doing it for Abhidhi Purvakam. What is Abhidhi Purvakam here? That they're doing it for their personal gains. Whenever we are looking out for some demigods who give us money.
Haribol Prabhu, if you are the co-host, can you mute? There's a lot of background noise. Can't follow Prabhu.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think it's gone. Is that okay? So as you can see, doing Devata Bhakta means doing demigod worship is Abhidhi Purvakam. Krishna is saying it in Bhagavad Gita 9.23. What that means is Krishna is saying not to disrespect the Devatas. Krishna is saying whenever a person is trying to go after the demigods to request for some material benefits, he's doing it for personal gains. And that personal gain mentality, the mentality of going after somebody for personal benefit, is avidhi purvakam. It's not following the right principles. So and Vyasadeva in the 18th Purana, after writing all the 17 Puranas, he was so dissatisfied. He was very sad. And Narad Muni came and he inquired. And then finally he wrote Bhagavad Purana, which is nothing but Srimad Bhagavatam. In there, he has glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead all the time. So there are glories of other personalities and other Puranas, Shiva Purana, Padma Purana. In Skanda Purana, there is a lot of references to Lord Jagannath in Utkal Khanda. But what we are trying to get to is finally Vyasadeva Vyasadeva is our umpteenth guru. We do Vyasa Puja. Whenever we want to glorify our guru, we do Vyasa Puja. Vyasadeva. Sometimes we do things because our gurus have told us. Gurus have told us to chant 16 rounds. Gurus have not told us to chant 14 rounds. Gurus have told us to chant 16 rounds. Vyasadeva, our ultimate guru in the parampara, is saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we'll get to that, is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And from there, if you try to compare with somebody who is not, then it calls for some level of introspection. And also, when you think about the Siddhanta. Who is Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is a Gunavatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu is in Suddha Sattva. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but sometimes when he wants to appear in the material world, then he associates with a guna, with the mode actually. And with the mode, when Lord Vishnu appear in contact with Rajoguna, he is Lord Brahma. And when Lord Vishnu gets in contact with Tamoguna, he is Lord Shiva. So here we have to understand that Lord Shiva, who lives with a lot of darkness, with ashes around, he is a Guna avatar. He's an avatar in that sense. So he's an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And Krishna is a avatari. He is the source of all avatars. So there is a slight difference, but they are at such high level that we do not have the propensity to defame them in any form or shape. There is a bit of a controversy in everywhere where it is mentioned that we offer prayers to Lord Krishna, he is superior and others are inferior. It is not like that. Krishna will be very sad when he recognizes that his devotees are defaming a guna avatar of themselves, because Lord Shiva is none other than a guna avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to understand the Siddhanta. So as you can see, all the activities around Lord Shiva is connected through Krishna. So thinking that it is different, as the offense 2 is saying, is an offense, because we haven't understood the principle. But that doesn't mean that we have the right to defame or undermine anybody who are Shaivites or who are following the Brahma, Lord Brahma, because our method of worship is Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. Brahma is from where everything comes. Brahma Madhava, Madhvacharya, Gaudiya Sampradaya. And Narad Muni is in the lineage. Vyasadeva is in the lineage. So the Siddhanta about the Guna avatar, think about the milk coming in contact with some acid to become yogurt. But from yogurt, you can get back milk. So what that means is they are actually behind the scene. It's the one and only similar components. But when milk comes in contact with acid, it becomes yogurt. So both have value. Both have value in the system. But thinking that yogurt can come without milk is foolishness. So this is how we should understand, and that is why, that is exactly, if you think about Ravan, for example, Ravana was offering prayers to Lord Shiva with the intent to defame Vishnu. He wants to create that element of envy, and he was doing it. He was doing it with an intent to infuriate, and Lord Shiva was pleased. But eventually, he had to succumb to the issues. It is because he did not use the understanding in the right sense. So that is why we can never ever defame anyone in our ability, in our sadhana, or Mother Durga for that matter, Lord Ganesh for that matter, or Lord Kartik for that matter. We have no right as Gaudiya Vaishnavas to defame any of these personalities. They are called demigods because of lack of a better English word. They are demigods because there are consequences. When Indra, who is a demigod, who is the god of rain, he wanted to be offered prayers, offered food grains in the Govardhan lifting Leela. Well, Lord Krishna says, Govardhan hill is due to whom you are getting all the cultivation. So instead of Indra, you should offer the offerings to Govardhan. And Indra became angry. And because Indra didn't understand the difference between God and demigod, he exhibited those pastimes. And because of which, Lord Krishna, in order to teach Indra a lesson, has to lift Govardhan in a pinky and 7 days, 7 nights in his pinky. And the Brajavasis didn't bother, had so much of faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead that they didn't think that this 7, 8-year-old kid will shake up Govardhan Hill and we'll all get crushed under Govardhan Hill. It was that level of sheer surrender they had, which is why this pastime exhibits the difference in our viewing of how we should take the demigods and how we should see them as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purna Purushottam Krishna. Once we start thinking differently, like exactly like how Indra was thinking, there are consequences. So we have to understand that, but that doesn't mean we have the right to defame them or tell bad things about others. So coming back to some concepts, the position of Sadasiv is very nicely explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Adilila 6.7, and it is mentioned, Ananta Brahmande Rudra Sadasiver Amsha Gunavatarateno Sarvadeha Avatamsa. That means Rudra, who is the expansion of Sadasiv, Rudra, the localized expansion from the forehead of Brahma, which came in and Brahmaji was very sad. He wanted to procreate this universe, and he saw Rudra. He was not happy with Rudra. Then he created Manu and Narad Muni, rishis, to procreate and increase population in this universe. So Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadasiv and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a Gunavatar, qualitative incarnation, and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universe. So our Chaitanya Charitamrita is glorifying Lord Shiva, that he is the ornament, of all demigods. So Lord Shiva is very much respected in our parampara. If somebody says that Lord Shiva is, in any less way, or in any, we should all focus on some of our scriptural references. Chaitanya Charitamrita is the ornament of our scripture, and in that it is mentioned the ornament of all demigods is Sadasiv, who is Rudra, who is the localized expansion of Sadasiv. Sadasiv, in that sense, is also an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has all the great qualities have. So we should, and then the classic verse, which you hear it all the time, Ete chamsha kalapumsha krishnastu bhagavan swayam. So that means in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28, it is mentioned by Vyasadeva that of all the incarnations are the either plenary portions or portion of the plenary portion of the Lord, but Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So Vyasadeva in that context has written Shiva Puran. He has said, he has glorified Lord Shiva in Shiva Puran, but in the grand finale in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Mahapuran, which we are all hearing and discussing in the morning 6:30 in our temple channel, Etichamsha Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. So it is so profoundly explained by Vasudev, who has also written so many other Puranas, that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam. So the simultaneous presence of Lord Shiva and Brahma in our lineage of supreme personalities, because we do not have a better word, we refer to demigods. There is this confusion, and it should not be referred to Lord Shiva or Brahma as demigods. They are They are incarnations, they are gunavatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they have a tremendous value in our movement, and they are one of the greatest devotees of our. So Lord loves his devotees, and if the Supreme Personality of Godhead recognizes that we are defaming them, Lord can accept everything, but he cannot accept uh, negative things thrown at his devotees. And Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva is so we should see Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, as this offense is saying, as connected through the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them independently of Supreme Personality of Godhead, as if they have their own universe and they have uh, their own world, is actually an offense. So we have to think that they are part and parcel of our plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are incarnations of the Lord, and thinking them independent is an offense. So, and also more scriptural reference. See, this is where we have to understand who goes after the demigods, who goes after, Lord Ganesh, Goddess Lakshmi for that matter. So it is mentioned the people who have personal requirements, they have material benefits to go after, self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige. Somebody has money, they want more money. They have prestige and they want more prestige. They proudly perform sacrifice in name only. In Bhagavad Gita 16.17, it's written, without following any rules and regulations. That is the reason why you'll see there are gods and goddesses on which temples are made in various different parts of India in the name of Bollywood stars. And there is a goddess which you might have also heard. The reference to that goddess is never mentioned in any scriptures, but Bollywood has created a movie, and after that there is a tremendous amount of fan following for that goddess. So and this is all quoted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Avidhi Purvakam. They don't follow any rules and regulations. And for the false prestige, they'll create temples wherein they do arati, they do abhishek of film personalities, and trying to popularize something with false intent. So Avidhi is very critical, and Krishna is mentioning Avidhi in many places in Bhagavad Gita. And 16.17, we just went through a verse where there is Avidhi Purvakam reference. And also, this is people who are following the demigods. But in chapter 7.24, Bhagavad Gita, they're talking about impersonalist. Krishna is going and talking about impersonalists. And he says, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I'm the Supreme Personality of God Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So they think that Krishna was an impersonalist, and have recently got this form, Avyaktam, and because of the lack of knowledge that he is a person and he is a supreme person, this lack of understanding has grown. And that is where ISKCON is often commented by others, that we are trying to put personalization of Krishna in all over the place. And there is a lot of doubt that in the impersonalist community, that Krishna, ISKCON has made the Supreme Personality of Godhead a person. But here, Lord Krishna is clearly saying that he is a person. And because of their lack of knowledge, there is a lot of confusion. So before Srila Prabhupada translated this, a lot of people didn't had access to Bhagavad Gita. Only the people who read Sanskrit or the local language translation had access. But after Srila Prabhupada translated Bhagavad Gita into English, people from 200 countries had access to this scriptures. And when this scripture was put in English and people could cross correlate, all these things become very, very clear in the minds. Krishna is a person, he is a supreme person, and his expansion is Karandakshay Vishnu, Garvadakshay Vishnu, Kirodakshay Vishnu, and from Kirodakshay Vishnu, Brahmaji has come, and Krishna expands as Jiva like us. We have 50 qualities of some degree. Demigods like not Brahma and Shiva, demigods have 50 qualities as Jiva. So they are also Jivas with a higher degree of qualities, the same 50 qualities to a higher degree. And Brahma has 50 qualities in full. Shiva has 55 qualities in full. Vishnu has 60 qualities in full. And Krishna has 64 qualities in full. So qualitatively speaking, they have come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they have not, like we are part and parcel of the Supreme. We do not have all the qualities in full. We have so much of drawbacks. We have so much of lack of understanding. Our memory fails. We are not the most powerful. We have some qualities, but not to the full. Demigods have the same qualities, but with a higher degree. Brahmaji has 50 qualities in full. Shiva has 55 qualities in full, and this is mentioned in the book which is written by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, from where we are reading the excerpts. Vishnu has 60 qualities in full, but Krishna has 64 qualities, and the 4 extra qualities Lord Krishna are exhibited during the Damodar pastime, which will go during the Damodar month. So surrendering under Krishna's lotus feet is an option. It's actually, it's a mentality when you think about it. So when Duryodhan went to Krishna, he knew that Krishna has taken a vow that he is not going to fight. So when he realized that Krishna is not going to fight, he took 10,000 Narayani Sena from Krishna, knowing that this 10,000 Narayani Sena will prove to be very powerful. So I don't need Krishna. And that is the biggest mistake he did. And whenever he would go and try to introduce the fighting spirit of Bhishma, Drona, Karna, he will always speak about these personalities. He will never speak about how chivalrous Lord Krishna is. But he failed to understand that Lord Krishna is the person who was pivotal in the war of Mahabharata. This is precisely because of his lack of it's a mentality. It's not that Duryodhan didn't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Duryodhan is a very intelligent person, but the mentality, we all may be very bright in our different ways of life, in our job or this or that, but that sheer mentality, that our lack of that inner feeling that we have to surrender to somebody, and that person under whom we're going to surrender is going to help us during the time of crisis. We can take solace from him. We can take association from his devotees. It's a mentality thing. There is a lot of great things in our society, but why do people don't join? It's this mentality. It's that little mentality, and so that's why Gaurang Prabhu mentioned that our process is very simple, but it is not easy. It's very simple because we believe in, feasting, singing, dancing, chanting some rounds. Initially, it may be mechanical, but it's not easy because our ahankar, our ego comes in between, and we always resort to that element of uh, disagreement with the basic fundamental, that how can Krishna be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And we have that self-doubt that Krishna is not the Supreme Personality. And because of that, we resort to personal benefit giving demigods who can give us a little bit money here, who can get us, who can give us some education, who can give us something by which we will look good. So we always look for ways wherein we look for individual gains, but we never look for. So it's a mentality thing. Our ability to not surrender to Krishna is nothing as if Krishna doesn't have the opulence or this or that. It's our sheer mentality. It's our ahankar. It's our self-ego, which is actually preventing us from surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is mentioned in the scriptures that the demoniac people, they go to demigods for material benefits. They will never ever resort to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrendering to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So a Krishna conscious person, once he is convinced of these offenses, once he is focused on the outcome of his relationship, he only needs one shelter. And whenever you look at any scriptural reference, whether it is Ravana or Duryodhan, their intent is not to surrender. Even the same with Hiranyakasipu, for example. Hiranyakasipu did not uh, surrender to Hari, and he was having a mentality problem of feeling low when his son Prahlad was glorifying Hari. And that is a mentality problem. We all have. That's what Srila Prabhupada in that classic video says, in that 1 minute you resort to accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as your master and you are the servant. You have won half the battle. You're already convinced. That's here, that simple 1 second or 1 minute, which makes you understand. But some people, they take lifetimes and lifetimes, and they never ever accept the Krishna conscious principles, which is laid down in the scriptures. So it's the mentality. So the question then becomes, in ISKCON, when devotees come, why do you tell to follow Krishna? Because at the same time, we are saying Shiva and Brahma are part and parcel of the Supreme. But at the same time, why we tell? So isn't it counterintuitive? So this is where we have to recognize that when a person is coming to ISKCON, he has some challenges in mind. He has lack of peace, or he's looking for a spiritual upliftment, or he has whatever the reason is. There are 4 kinds of people who come to him, Krishna. We all know that from Bhagavad Gita. But the point here is, when a person comes, if we tell based on the scriptures that you can either follow Krishna or Shiva or Brahma or whoever, then the confusion, it will be significantly more. That on the top of it, if you water the branches, the tree is not going to grow, because the place where the growth happens is in the roots. When the roots are irrigated, the entire branches, leaves, everything, they grow. So that is the reason why we always tell who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has the highest number of qualities, because Krishna says, whoever they offer, eventually the offering comes to me. So that is the reason why we tell devotees to focus on the holy name and think that the Lord Shiva and Brahma are part and parcel of the Supreme, and we have no right to. So finally, I just want to touch on a small pastime. So a child was rebellious to his father. He didn't want to follow his father, so he left. So his father realized that my son is rebellious to me, but he has forgotten me, but not for the right reason, for the lack of understanding. So what he did, the father did, he sent a subordinate of him to go and groom the child, give him something, teach him, and then through a different channel, the father used the subordinate to coach the son, and the son grew up, and then finally he became a follower of that subordinate. And after some time, he realized that the subordinate is part of the father. And then gradually he became part and parcel of this father in this example. So, so if for some reason you are not aligned to the teachings of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and if for some reason you follow Lord Shiva or Lord Ganesha, and indirectly through them you come to Krishna, it's absolutely fine. Some people take different times. Not everybody have the same absorption level to get to the point. A lot of in our prior lives, when you're 20s or 30s or 40s, we might have been inspired by others, but eventually as more and more scriptures percolate, as more and more discussion happen, as we hear more and more katha, we realize the concepts which are laid down in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Sarga Visarga, primary creation, secondary creation, where we talk about the Purna Purushottam Krishna and the first expansion, Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, then everything becomes clear. And then we recognize that who the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and now see everything in connection with the Supreme. Aham Sarvascha Prabhu. Lord Krishna says everything comes from him. Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, they all have come. Aham Sarvascha Prabhu. Aham Bija Pradapita. He's the seed-giving father of everyone. So if everybody is connected through Krishna, thinking that the demigods, lack of a better term, sometimes demigod is taken in a wrong way. It's not intended to be like that. But Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are the guna avatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is the avatari, he is the source of all avatars. So as long as we think them in connection with them, without any up, down in their mentality, and not think and don't think that they are any different from each other, then we have understood it. Thinking that Lord Shiva and Brahma are different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are independent from Lord Vishnu, that is the offense. And also, as we talked about qualities, we should never think that they're equal. They're part and parcel. Part and parcel is a great thing. That doesn't mean we'll defame them. So in our ability to understand some siddhantas, let's all agree that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are not independent from the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Lord Vishnu in this case. And as we discussed, they are not equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when you are offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demigods are pleased as well. So thinking that you will offer prayers to demigods and Lord Krishna is not going to get it, that's incorrect in our assumption. So it's a very complicated topic, but it's very simple to understand that Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva and part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is, to us, is the greatest Vaishnava, and we should respect that Vaishnavanam Yatha Sambhu. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam Yatha Sambhu. That means Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the number one Vaishnava, and we see Lord Shiva is in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not independent, as this offense is saying. Also, we should never think they are one and the same. There is difference, as I mentioned. Yogurt comes from milk, not the other way. And we have no right to talk about the lowness or highness of somebody. They are all part and parcel of the Supreme. And that is the reason why, if at all we are going and doing devotee care, Vaishnava Sadachar, to take care of the devotees, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are at a very, very high pedestal. And we should keep that in that light in our ability to recognize them. Hope we have made some agreements through this very important concept. And by understanding this, hope this is going to help us in our sadhana in future. So with that, I'd like to end here. We can go on and on. I'm sure you all have other things to do. Other than, if you have any questions or comments or reflections, please share. We'll all learn from your realization. This is a session to glorify Lord Shiva, not trying to create differences. So Lord Shiva has touched all of us. In every dham you go, there is Lord Shiva who is protecting the dham. So Lord Shiva is our protector, whether you go to Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri or Mayapur or any dham for that matter. Lord Shiva is the protector of the dhams. And we have to keep Lord Shiva in a very, very high pedestal to be successful in our sadhana, and have no qualms that he is anyway less or small than the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So with that, I'd like to end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, sorry, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat, all Krishna Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I have one question, Prabhuji. So when it comes to Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, like as there are many universes, right? So Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they are many Lord Brahmas and Lord Shivas, right? And they are only confined to one universe. So like for every universe, we have Lord one Brahma and Lord one Shiva, correct, Prabhuji?
That is correct. That is correct, because from Garbhodakshay Vishnu, we have the expansion and of Brahmaji coming from the navel in each universe. And Brahmaji, there are many Brahmajis, assuming one per universe, who has been designated by Lord Krishna to go and create. Likewise, there are many Shivas in that sense, and in that sense, there are many Lord Shivas and Lord Brahmas. One, based on my understanding, one per each universe, who has been assigned to annihilate and annihilate and destroy once the universe is coming to an end. So in that sense, there are multiple such, and they are guna avatars, and based on the material creation, Lord Shiva comes in contact with Mother Durga, and then he kind of creates and annihilates. So in that sense, there are multiple.
And Prabhuji, there are multiple Shivas and multiple Brahma. One additional question, Prabhuji. But Mahavishnu is only one, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mahavishnu, when the creation of this universe happens, Mahavishnu comes in contact with Mahatattvas to create many. So Mahavishnu in this context is Karnadakshay Vishnu, who is residing in Karnadakshay ocean. And in that example, there's one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I actually had a question on Lord Vishnu. So the Lord Vishnu which you're referencing here, is it the Garbhodakasai Vishnu or is it one of the Chaturvyu expansions of Sankarshan? Like Lord Narayana there.
Yeah, so in this context, I'm referring to Narayan Mataji. So the 60 qualities I refer to, which Lord Vishnu has in full, is so I'm kind of so when the Chaturvya expansion, the first expansion of Lord Krishna is Balram, and the first Chaturvya expansion is Karnodakshay Vishnu, who is residing in causal ocean, and through his pores, through the exhale and inhale, the universes are getting created, and then Karnodakshay Vishnu enters into each universe as Garvadakshay Vishnu, and Garvadakshay Vishnu is residing in the causal ocean from the navel. So, so your question on Narayan, here I'm referring to Lord Narayan with 60 qualities as Karnadakshay Vishnu, who is none other than Mahavishnu, who is actually one, to Bimal Prabhu's question. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So that means Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the Guna avatars of Mahavishnu to be, or the Lord Narayan, you mean?
Yes, they are the Guna avatars of Lord Narayan. Once we get into the particular technicalities, it may be more confusing, but yes, to answer your question, yes, absolutely, they are the Guna avatars. Once they come in contact with the different modes of nature, they appear. So it's actually Lord's expansion only. When you think about it, they're Lord's expansion only. Lord has come in contact in the mode of goodness to be Narayan, in that sense that he is maintaining this place, and in the mode of Rajogun, he's creating this place as Brahma when he comes in contact with Rajogun, and when he comes in contact with Tamogun, he annihilates and destroys the place. Okay, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhuji. So this one other question. Sorry, Prabhuji. So like this Lord Narayan, so the Vaikunt Loka, which we talk about, right? We talk that is like the abode of Lord Vishnu. So that's what is the Lord Narayan, right? Like Lord Narayan and
Yes, that is Lord Narayan. But even above that is Golok Vrindavan. So in that sense, that Vishnu Loka is or Vaikuntha is where Narayan, where if you remember the past time where the four Kumaras appear and the doorkeeper Jai and Vijay or Vaikuntha, they've stopped them. That's the abode of Lord Vishnu or Narayan in that sense. And then there is a scuffle broke out, and then eventually Lord Narayan or Vishnu had to come, and then so Vaikuntha is the abode of Lord Narayan. And there is Golok Vrindavan where Krishna resides, which is at a higher planetary system.
Yeah. That is clear, Prabhuji, about Krishna. So, I mean, so you mean to say that Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, and Mahavishnu, they are one, and they are the same with 60 qualities.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but if you read commentary of some of our acharyas, there might be little difference, but for the sake of today's discussion, let's keep them Mahavishnu, the 60 qualities Narayan as one and the same. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Hemajaganath Prabhu. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam, Krishna.
Dandavad. We always say and we accept that there is no difference between Krishna and Lord Balram. They are equal. Only difference is the color. So the Lord Balram also has 64 qualities, Prabhuji?
Great question. So based on so he is Lord Balram is the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the elder brother. Whenever Lord appears before that, but I would not like to speculate, Prabhu, because I have not read. Balram has 64 qualities on, but I would like to probe further, and I'll like to get back to you. I don't want to misspeak here, but it's a great question. They're one and the same. The difference is only color. But what a question. I must admit, you're really thinking about it. So I have, see this 50, 55, 60, 64. That is written in the Damodar book written by His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj. So there is a place where I'm quoting from, so that when I speak from our bona fide sources. So if you all have Damodar book, you can look at those 50, 55, 60, 64 I'm talking about. And those 4 qualities which Krishna has an extra, Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, they're all written in the Damodar book. Damodar month is coming. So you'll also need to have that book. If you don't have, let me know. I have few copies. But that Balram qualities of 64, I have not read anywhere. But I would like to ask Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, his next book, which is coming, which is going to be a hot seller, is on Balram. So I'm going to ask. And if I can get the answer, I'm going to tell you, but I really don't want to speculate for the
No problem, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments? I would like to hear your comments on this. As long as we internalize this and appear as if we are not, against any demigod. There is a lot of bad press, and really, Srila Prabhupada is very categorical not to appease or defame any other personality. So we have to be careful. So this offense goes a long way in our ability to understand the scripture in the right sense. Okay. Any other comments, reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, my question is, as you have mentioned that Vishnu plus gunas you have told. So I would like to know about the Satoguna. So Vishnu, there was not mentioned with Satogun. So I would like to know why it is not mentioned. Is there any combination of Satoguna and Vishnu?
Yes, Vishnu, when he comes in contact with the mode of goodness, Sataguna. So Krishna is beyond the gunas, right? Krishna is referred, his other name for Krishna is Trigunatit. That means Triguna Atit. He is beyond this. You might have heard another nice name of Krishna is he's Aptakam. He's Trigunatit. He is beyond the language. So these modes doesn't touch. So Vishnu is in the mode of goodness. So Vishnu is in the mode of goodness, and we refer to Vishnu. Sometimes we refer to them as Narayan. Depending on the pastime, they are different in the sense, like Krishna is the same as Lord Jagannath. Krishna is the same as Madan Mohan. Krishna is the same as Shyam Sundar. So there are some pastimes due to which Krishna is Kesi Nisudan. Krishna is Madan Mohan. And so Krishna is the same person, but depending on the personality, depending on when he is in the mode to shower mercy, he's Lord Jagannath. He's Krishna only. So in that sense, so these are all pastime based references. But to your question, when Vishnu comes in contact with mode of goodness, so he's Narayan or Vishnu in that matter. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji, but Krishna is beyond all three.
Yes, Krishna is beyond all three. So Krishna has 64 qualities and he is beyond all this. So he is Trigunatit. He is not bound by any form of modes of goodness, or so he is transcendental. He transcends beyond all the modes. So he's transcendental. But the other personalities we talked about, right? Brahma. So Krishna has, if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna has around 26 avatars, and there are 6 kinds of avatars. There are 3 there of the 6 kinds of avatar. One avatar kind is called Guna avatar. In the Guna avatar, there is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, right? Goodness, goodness is Vishnu. Passion,
Rajogun, Satogun, and
exactly.
Tamo. Yes.
So Rajogun is Brahmaji, Satogun is Vishnu, and Tamogun is Shiva, as we discussed today. So there are 6 kinds of, there is Saktavesh avatar. There is Vyasadeva is a Saktavesh avatar. Vyasadeva is the avatar of the Lord. There are 26 avatars. I have that. Let me look for it. I can share it, but all I'm trying to say, Mataji, is there are different avatars of the Lord.
Yes, Prabhuji, I got it. And one more question is that when we started the conversation of second verse, so you mentioned that Bhakti Vinod Thakur. About him, I want to know few lines. Like Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, they both are in a relationship with father and son, right?
Right.
So, so why didn't he took Diksha from his father, Prabhuji? I would like to know. Why did
Yeah.
he?
Yeah. So basically, so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is a biological son of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. That's what I mentioned. And but see, there is a pastime actually. There is a pastime. If see in Krishna consciousness, there is a pastime due to which the bhakti has to be rationalized by a third party, in the sense that when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was growing up, he had a affinity towards Prabhu. If correct me, I'm losing it. Is it Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, yeah.
We took
So
initiation from him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Prabhuji, Sanatan Goswami and Rup Goswami were also two brothers, you know. So
Right.
they got initiated with each other. So why not here it happened, Prabhuji?
No, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami got initiated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? They didn't, I mean, Sanatan Goswami didn't take initiation because both are brothers, right, Mataji? Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were brothers. They took initiation. There are 6 Goswamis, right, which is there in the altar. So the 6 Goswamis, they took all initiation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mataji. Okay.
Not Sanatan Goswami gave the initiation to Rupa
No.
Goswami.
All the 6 they took initiation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was not giving a lot of initiation. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was attracted to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So in that sense, he took initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And this is not something which it's a desire. You need to have the right form of desire to get Guru's association, right? So in that sense, he wanted to take initiation from Gaur Kishore Das. It was a choice in that sense, right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, but how come Gaur Kishore Maharaj Ji came into the Guru Parampara, Prabhuji? He didn't took the initiation from Bhakti Vinod. Actually, I'm confused in all the things. No, that's why I'm asking this specific question.
So the way, so Srila Prabhupada's Guru is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Guru is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's spiritual master is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And so on. Okay. So your question is why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't take initiation from his father and took initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And that answer to that is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj had a quality. He was not accepting many disciples. He was not even talking. He had a so there was a bit of a desire wherein Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there is a pastime I'm forgetting fully. I'm trying to remember. So maybe I can explain that in a subsequent class. I'll read more about it. That he didn't want to take the he wanted to serve him in such a manner that finally Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj had to give in and accept him as a disciple. So there was that tussle going on between Guru and Sishya for some time, and that is how that's how it kind of manifested.
Okay, Prabhuji.
And then maybe I'll spend some time some other class about
Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew that his son is he asked for God, like God's son. No? So Jagannath Bhagwanji gave him this son. He had 10 sons. No, so among them he knew that he is the only one. He is going to take this further. So he knew that because he got that flower garland from the Jagannath
during the Rath
Yatra.
Yatra.
Yes, Prabhuji. So this was my confusion, that if he knew everything that he is going to take further, so he would have initiated. So these all stuffs, it was coming into my mind. I'm sorry if I'm making any offense, Prabhuji, but I just wanted to know this thing.
Yeah, we can discuss, definitely discuss this some other time. We have to get you the right answer. There is a tussle. But we can get to it in a subsequent class, Mataji. I see you are regularly attending. Maybe when I get the next opportunity to discuss, I'll speak a little bit about why the desire from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came, wherein he wanted to get initiation from Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. May I comment a little?
Yes, go ahead, Prabhu. Yeah, why don't you explain if I'm forgetting?
No, this was not the choice of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj approached Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati requested Bhaktivinoda Thakur to give the initiation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually directed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to go and take initiation from Srila Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Reason for that time Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj was very pure devotee, and not that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj was like an avadhut, not considering, but seeing the quality, seeing the purity of Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur directed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj to take initiation from Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Another note, they were not all ordinary personalities. They all know, in one sense, their spiritual identity. They all, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, were all Ananga Mancharis and various different Mancharis. And so, in a spiritual understanding and identity that they all, so that Bhaktivinoda Thakur realized that the ideal way to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj to take initiation from Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and that became so powerful. That bond between so powerful, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was so attached to the spiritual master Guru Maharaj, and we can all see that later. Yeah, but I just wanted to add a comment that yes, this was the decision of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj to take initiation from Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, so I think hope that you got that clarified. So as you can see here, I'm trying to share my screen. There are 6 different kinds of avatar. There are 3 Purusha avatars. There are around 26, 25 Leela avatars. three guna avatars we talked about today: Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. When they come in contact, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead come in contact with goodness, passion, ignorance, the guna avatars come. Then the Saktavesh avatars, Kapila Dev, who is the son of Devahuti, and we are having the discussion in Srimad Bhagavatam, and and then there are Yuga avatars, Satya Yuga, Trita Yuga, Dwapara Yuga. Then you have Manvantra avatars. There are around 40. So it's not just Krishna has only 10 avatars. Krishna has close to 30, 40 avatars. Krishna is the source of all avatars. So this is something. Vyasadeva is also one avatar, as you can see here. So he's one of the Leela avatars. Nrsimhadev is a Leela avatar, and the Das avatar, Matsya, Kurma, and all this. So hope this gives you the kind of perspective you're looking for. Any other comments or questions or reflections?
Hari Krishna Prabhuji, as per the picture that you shared now, it appears that the Guna avatars, right, they are coming from Kshirodak Sai Vishnu, right?
Right.
So I mean, that was the earlier question which I had asked. So the Guna avatars are not from Mahavishnu, right? Like the Lord Vishnu has 60 qualities. So you mentioned that Lord Vishnu is same as Karano, like Mahavishnu, right?
Yeah. So
Mahavishnu, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Narayan, they all have 60 qualities, and the Guna avatars are from Lord Vishnu, right?
yeah. So yeah. So if you think in that sense, Mataji, yes. So the Karnadakshay Vishnu is Mahavishnu, then Garvadakshay Vishnu, then Kirodakshay Vishnu, and see, these are all gunas. These are all persons. They have a soul, and Lord is in their heart. So in that sense, you're right. But indirectly, they're all coming from Karnadakshay Vishnu, right? In that indirectly. So I would like to answer in that sense, right?
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Indirectly, Krishna is here, Karnadakshay Vishnu is here, Balram is somewhere here as the first expansion, and Garvadakshay Vishnu. They all are jivas. They are all jiva tattvas. All of them are jiva tattvas. There's 40 of them, but they are avatars in that sense. So indirectly, Kirodakshay Vishnu is the localized expansion of Vishnu in our heart, in your heart, in everybody's heart, and this is where, in that sense, yes, you're right. They have all directly come from that, but indirectly, it's all started with Karnadakshay Vishnu, who is in a causal ocean. This is Karnadakshay Vishnu, then Gauradakshay Vishnu, where from the navel Brahma comes here, and Kirodakshay Vishnu. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. So all the three Vishnus, they have like 60 qualities, right? Like when we say the qualities.
Yeah. Yes. 60 qualities.
Okay.
See, this is something which has to be understood in a perspective manner. So, but this is not going to change your mentality to surrender, right? So all I'm trying to do is, as long as we have this notion that this offense has to be understood and we don't defame Lord Shiva, who is actually avatar, one Guna avatar, and you highlight that thing in your mind and not defame. You celebrate Shivaratri as the appearance day of a greatest Vaishnava in that sense. I think you have understood the perspective, Mataji. That's all I wanted to, not getting into a lot of technicalities, but I think you're asking the right questions. Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can you bring the diagram again, Prabhuji, that chart? Because I have now a little bit confusion. Because earlier when I spoke, Garbhodakshay Vishnu is controlling one universe, right? So there are many universes.
Yes.
But if all these expansions goes under Shirodakshay Vishnu, then I'm little bit lost.
Every universe, in Karnadakshay Vishnu, there are many universes. From the pores, many universes are emanating and many universes are annihilating. when the inhale happens. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each universe. So this is at a universal level. This is like a local variable. This is like a global variable. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is one Garbhodakshaya Vishnu per universe. Then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is entering into the into each soul. As you can see here, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is entering into each soul like a tiger or a human being or a woman into the heart. And Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the localized, is at a jiva level. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is at a universe level. Mahavishnu is at the global level. When I mentioned who is Mahavishnu to a question, I said Mahavishnu is nothing but Karnadakshaya Vishnu, as Karnadakshaya Vishnu is right here. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is localized within the universe, and localized within every individual is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Is that clear?
Very clear, Prabhuji, but only thing is this avatar, I got lost in the avatars, right? These avatars are coming from Kshirodakshaya Vishnu then?
See, locally, yes. Locally, Bimal Prabhu, yes. Locally, because they are jivas, right? So as we mentioned, that the jivas in our heart, there is a super soul, and that super soul is nothing but Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So inside the four Kumaras, inside Narad Muni, there is a soul, and that soul is localized by Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But that Kshirodakshaya Vishnu has come from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu has come from Karnadakshaya Vishnu. So in that sense, they're indirectly linked, but inside the heart of Narad Muni, there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu as the soul, as I mentioned here. Think about Narad Muni as here. So Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is right here. Is that okay? Local to the jiva is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Local to the universe is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Global to the all the universes is Mahavishnu or Karnadakshaya Vishnu.
So, Prabhuji, then what it happens is this all avatars are confined to one planetary or one universe, it looks like, right? That is what my confusion is. If you say Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is for one universe, and
Right.
then you are saying, so that is the confusion which is happening in my mind now. So then this all avatars are not across universes; they are only confined to one universe. That's what it means.
They are in the all these avatars are in. Okay, your definition of universe, right? We have different. So in a universe, there are different levels, right? Different locus, right? So think about within one universe, there are 7 upper locus and 7 lower locus. So they can all appear at different. See, we have the Brahmanda, we have the Prithvi, which is the level, and there is Patala, Talatala, and then there is upper planetary system, Brahmaloka. So they can appear in different locus within a universe, but they're all within the one universe. That's my understanding, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji, let me share one diagram which I have because that is creating confusion to me.
Sure. Yeah. You may be having the Brahmanda diagram, right?
Right.
Go ahead, share, Prabhu. So this is one universe in my mind. In a universe, there are different lokas: Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka. So there are 7 upper and 7 lower. They're all part of the same universe. So it's all one universe, Prabhu. Dwarka Puri, Mathura Puri, that's all one universe. So within a universe, there are different lokas.
Unmute this. Not able to unmute.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Speak. You want me to unmute?
Please
I'm
unmute.
asking.
Okay. So if you
Go ahead.
Can't hear Prabhu.
I have asked you to unmute, Prabhu. Vimal Prabhu. We can't hear you.
You're able to hear me, Prabhuji, now?
Now you can hear you.
Sorry, so if you see here, right? So Shiradaksha Vishnu is here, and sorry, Karnadaksha Vishnu is here, and from the bubbles are coming out, and this. Oh shoot! I lost my forward.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. After Vimal Prabhu, I have couple of questions, Prabhu.
Okay,
Hare, yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, even I had one question. So after that, I'll ask one question. Sorry.
actually, I wanted to go to temple for the Jagannath Ashtakam, Chaurashtakam, because
Can
today
I
is the last
share
day.
in the meantime? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
If I'm permitted, even I have to be jumping off in 10 minutes. So to Bimal Prabhu's question, the understanding is when Mahavishnu exhales, as you said, innumerable universes come out. So the number of avatars are innumerable, infinite. And there are two distinctions, which is the spiritual world and material world. And in that diagram, what Bimal Prabhu was showing, there are several innumerable Vaikunthas. So these avatars are there in each, and in the material, each of the Vaikuntha Loka. And in the material world, the different avatars all appear again. So in one class I've heard, as we are speaking, Krishna is performing the Leela of Damodar Leela in some universe. It's going on over there. In some other universe, Lord Narsinghadev has appeared. Then similarly, the Manvantar avatar, where periodically they appear. So that was the understanding. As you said, the global person is Mahavishnu, and then he enters again into each universe, each of those bubbles, what Bimal Prabhu was showing. And then in each jiva, therein is what Shirodakshai again. So if you look at it, the avatars are literally infinite. So that's the understanding. And the other is of the Goswami's initiations. It's the two brothers who were initiated, if I'm not mistaken, by Mahaprabhu. And the others were by Haridas Thakur, and Rupa Goswami had initiated Jiva Goswami. And I think it was, Prabodhanand Saraswati. So these are the initiations of the 6 Goswami. And there are two types of initiation, or what we call Guru, the Diksha and the Siksha Guru. Like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji had accepted Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj as his Siksha Guru. So that's where the initiation question was Mataji was saying. I thought I'll share. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Raj, go ahead.
To Amritanand Prabhuji's comment, like, can you please elaborate? You mentioned that there are innumerable Vaikunthas also, right?
Mataji, for me?
Yes, Prabhuji, you just were saying, I think I missed that point. You mentioned that that there are innumerable Vaikunthas also, right?
Yeah, Mataji, the explanation is that the material world is about 25% and spiritual world is 75%. This is an estimation which the acharyas have given, correct?
Now, this 25% itself is infinite. So it is kind of mind-bending. You know, infinite is infinite. How can you put a percentage on infinite? But that's where it is inconceivable. It's beyond our understanding. So to simplify it, the acharyas have told us that, you know, this material universe itself is infinite, and all that infinite is just 25% of all that exists. And whatever exists isn't static. It keeps expanding more and more. So as we are speaking, there are pores coming out of universes coming out of Mahavishnu's pore. So Mahavishnu's breath, when he exhales, that entire exhale cycle, like you and me will exhale for maybe 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, and we'll inhale for another 3 seconds, I mean, whatever it is. That is our cycle. Now, Brahma's cycle, his entire lifespan of 100 years, whatever, 311 trillion something, that is just his one cycle of Mahavishnu. And again, he breathes in. Now, like this, the spiritual worlds is not static. That is also expanding. And that is expanding by the will of Krishna, by his will. So there are innumerable, countless. So just keep this in mind, 75, 25. And in those Vaikunthas, there are different Vishnu Tattvas, including Balram is a Vishnu Tattva. And all these Vishnu Tattvas have these 60 qualities. Krishna is the only person who has 64 qualities. He's the only supreme personality, but we consider all of them as the absolute truth. And in fact, it will be an aprad to say that Nityanand Prabhu or Balram, you know, the Vishnu Tattvas any less. And that you must have heard this example, like with one candle, you burn the other candles, but there is still that original. So in that 64 qualities, 4 additional qualities, one of them, if I remember right, is Krishna plays the flute, which can attract everyone. No one else plays the flute.
Right. That
It's
is
only
Venu
Krishna.
Madhuri, Prabhu. One of the 4 qualities, Venu is Bansi, and that is Venu Madhuri. The 4 extra qualities, one of the 4 extra qualities you're mentioning. Go ahead. Sorry.
So that way, Mataji. And there is a link, I can later share it on, very nicely explained about Vishnu Tattva, Shiva Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Krishna. And even those qualities are mentioned and the understanding. I think it's written by Gaur Gopal Prabhu, who's the very famous internet influencer. So that's there on ISKCON Desire Tree. And likewise, there is a lot of resources even on the Parampara, all the different Vaishnavas, the entire biography from birth to disappearance is mentioned in that. If it interests you, it will make good reading. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, so I mean, you mean to say that there is only one Golok, like in that spiritual world, 75% of the spiritual world, there is only one Golok Dham, but there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. But Lord Vishnu is also one, no, Prabhuji? Like, or is it like you said Vishnu Tattva could be many, but Lord Vishnu, what we're talking about is one, right? I'm a little confused, Prabhuji. So, sorry.
Mataji, Goloka is given the example of a lotus flower. And the lotus flower has many petals. And in the center of the lotus flower is Goloka Dham. Correct? So that is first understanding. Now these petals are infinite. Infinite. And in those Vishnu expansions, so Vishnu expansions also are infinite.
Right.
It's not that just one, like as Prabhu mentioned earlier, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he will breathe out. And then you have the Shirodakshaya, you have the Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, and then you have the two others, I'm sorry. So they are infinite. In each universe they come.
Right.
So it's its own expansion. It's just that the um, the role which they play and they adopt is for a particular purpose. Likewise, Balram has come as Krishna himself in the mood of a servant. So Balram expands even as Krishna's slippers, as Krishna's dhoti, as everything to serve him. Even our temple in the material world is Shri Balram. The altar is Shri Balram. Like that, Mataji. And these jivas like Brahma. Brahma, tomorrow you could become Brahma. I mean, theoretically, a person who lives his life perfectly for 100 lifetimes, no sin, nothing, perfect, he gets qualified to become Brahma. Likewise, Indra, these are all jivas, like you and me. So these are posts, and that post is occupied by a jiva. I forget in our what is this Brahma's name. So that's how we can understand about Vishnu. We can understand about jivas. So if you read Gaur Gopal Prabhu's essay, it will be quite informative.
Yeah.
I'll post that link on Japathon later tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I got to jump off.
Yeah.
But thank you, Hemajaganath Prabhu. It was excellent. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your
Thank you.
participation.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
So,
Krishna.
Mataji, just to add to what Prabhu said, there is just not one Vishnu to answer your question. There are as many Vishnus as the role dictates. In our heart, suppose we have 12 people in the Zoom right now. Inside the heart, there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu who is localized. So there are 11 Vishnus present at this point in time in our hearts. So that is at the Jiva level, as I'm showing here, right? And then at the universe level, there's one Garbhodakshaya Vishnu per universe. If there are millions of universes, there are millions of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and there is one Mahavishnu. One Mahavishnu, there are millions of universes, millions of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. There are trillions of jivas, there are trillions of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is part and who is in the heart of this tiger, in a person like here, in a person. So that is, does that help, Mataji? This picture?
Yes, Prabhuji, this picture is clear to me. My only question was about that, like what Amritanand Prabhuji was mentioning about that 75% is spiritual and 25% is material. And he mentioned that there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, he mentioned, right? So that was a bit, because we have these Leela avatars within each universe, like Ram. So if a person is devotee of Ram, like he goes to Ayodhya, right? That is one of the Vaikuntha planets, what we have learned. And we are talking about that there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. So when we say that, we literally mean that there is one Lord Vishnu, right? There is only one Lord Vishnu, but you mean that like Sri Ram is the Vishnu Tattva, so there is a separate planet for it. So that's what it means, right? When we say innumerable, or like different Vishnu Tattvas that we are talking about, there is one planet. Even though Sri Ram is appearing in every universe, like under that, the Leela Avtaras, which falls under Kshirodakasai Vishnu.
Right. So can we dwell on it more in our
Yeah,
subsequent class?
that's what is subsequent classes.
Yeah, so this is a very engrossing topic about offenses. And as long as our takeaway from today is we should not think Lord Shiva as one who is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we always see Lord Shiva in connection with that. We have met the objective of the class. So we'll end here, Prabhu, and we'll have more discussion. Vancha kalpataru vescha kripa sindhu vaibhacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnava.
Vishnu Namo Maha Vishnu
Please try.
So Simeswar Prabhu, I have to go to temple.
Yes,
So
yes, please. That we are going to conclude. Okay, thank you, dear devotees. Let's. Thank you so much. We'll continue this every day. Please join.
you will
Hare
stop
Krishna.
recording now, right?
Yes.